Hey YouTube audience, I'm back from taking a small vacation. I have a lot of videos planned for eventual release, but gotta go ahead and get this one out of the way really quickly because it's a new season. It's summer. It's hot and fucking humid. I hate it here. But that's okay, because we have some great things to talk about today from the spring season, and maybe some not-so-great things to talk about, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Oh, hold on a minute, I have an idea for today's video, something I've never really done in one of my videos before, a central theme that's unrelated to the topic at hand. A way that I can tie all of these things together in some weird ham-fisted way. Today's theme should be... how about sin? Yeah, now that sounds pretty cool, actually. Better yet, how many of the 7 deadly sins can I relate these things to? Trust me, there's a reason I'm doing all of this. How about we begin with the first thing, and I can tie that into the sin of sloth, because the Minecraft movie sure took its sweet-ass time. Alright, so, fun fact, I was actually going to do a short review of the Minecraft movie, a Minecraft movie, since it happened to line up with the 2-year anniversary of my first video on this channel, but time slipped away from me. I mean, it would have been cool, you know, a fun little way to tie things back to the first video on this channel about the Mario movie and the state of video game adaptations, but I guess I suffered from sloth as well. I get the feeling there isn't much for me to say, though, that hasn't already been said. So let's see if I can make my own original points, because I didn't get the same experience a lot of others had. My theater was dead silent. I can probably count the number of times I heard laughter on one hand, so no funny chicken jockey shenanigans, which is a good thing because I value the sanity of minimum wage workers. I guess I kinda liked the first half. It reminds me a lot of 2000s era absurdist comedies that don't take themselves too seriously. I mean, the movie literally opens up on a joke about the children yearning for the mines. I really thought the first 30 minutes or so was kinda interesting. It legitimately made me think, wait, is this movie actually okay? And then they all get to the Minecraft world and the entire thing just devolves into slop. I don't think Minecraft is horrible, not as bad as I thought it would be, but I can't think of many things I actually liked about it beyond that opening. I guess Jennifer Coolidge hitting a villager with her Jeep Grand Cherokee made me smile because that's the same car that I drive. I never watched any of his videos, but the Technoblade reference was sweet. The yaoi between Jack Black and Jason Momoa was cool, I guess. I don't know, during the finale, I was just left thinking about how this movie had been worked on for over half a decade, and this was all they had to show for it. Okay, I guess a lot of that time was in production hell, but all that we're left with is something I can only describe as a very expensive cutscene with a generic story attached. I also have plenty of nitpicks, such as every single mob hitting the uncanny valley perfectly, or how... Wait, I actually can't remember much else. This really was just in one ear and out the other. God bless. What do I remember better, though? How about Kimi no Tedoke? Wait, no, I remember even less of that. In fact, I didn't even remember the fact that it's actually Kimi ni Tedoke and not Kimi no Tedoke. I really thought that for like 4 years. Now, do I remember very little of it because it's bad? No, of course not. I actually quite like it. It's just that I started it over 4 years ago and only now watched the rest of a friend, and I was drunk during parts of it. I definitely think it's a product of its time in comparison to a lot of other romance anime today, very slow burn and such, but it has some of the sweetest and most reasonable characters of any romance anime I've ever seen. The main character, Sawako, is just the very definition of the good in humanity. I understand this definitely won't end up being for everyone, but I like it quite a bit. I guess romance anime could fit under the sin of lust, even if it's a very sweet romance anime. I'd be grasping at straws otherwise. Seeing as there's no better time to talk about it, here's a different romance anime, one that's been lightly on my radar for a bit now. Josie, the Tiger, and the Fish. I've already seen a lot of romance anime movies. Too many, perhaps? Then that begs the question, is there anything this one offers I haven't seen done to death already? Well, kinda? I guess. To give it some leeway, it's actually based on a real Japanese book, which was already adapted into a live-action film a long time ago, so it's probably just doing the best it can as an adaptation. So then, I'd say I liked it actually. Not a masterpiece or anything, but I think it's well worth a watch. How about the sin of envy? Because I am very envious of people way better than me at this game. By far, one of the most played games of last season for me was Balatro, a game I wish I'd had the balls to try last year because, while I might not know a single thing about poker, I love solitaire to death. I could just be doing anything, and I'd be in the mood to play a game of it. I mean, shit, I'd used to take a deck of cards with me on vacation and just play solitaire in the hotel room and to pass the time. Now, I don't see myself getting cracked enough to do any of the crazy shit I've seen others do, but for the past few months, if I ever felt myself getting bored of doom scrolling, or maybe my internet wasn't too good, I just open Balatro and get lost in it. I really can't believe I was one of the people left disappointed and scratching their head when this got nominated for Game of the Year. It deserved it, and then some. So, Metroid Prime 4 is actually happening this year. I guess I'd better get ready for it. Now, let's see. Any preparations that need to be made? Oh my god, I never finished Prime Hunters or 3. 3 I have no excuse for, but Hunters I legitimately avoided for years because I just could not get used to the controls. They hurt my hand then, and it hurts even more now. But I finally just sat down and made myself play it, and I liked it actually. Yeah, shocker, but I ended up finding Prime Hunters to be pretty enjoyable in spite of everything I had against it before. So, Prime Hunters fans, I'd like to formally apologize for years of unwanted slander. I mean, yeah, it's still probably the weakest Prime game, or, I'm sorry, weakest first-person Prime game where you actually play as Samus. But hey, not bad for an experimental DS game. So, anyone else play Deltarune? I did. Well, Chapter 3 anyway. Y'all are gonna have to wait for me to give my thoughts on Chapter 4. Chapter 3 is probably my least favorite one thus far, but I still really liked it, and I can't wait to see what's next. I guess I can use the Sin of Pride here because I don't know, I feel a sense of superiority for sparing everyone successfully. Alright, let's see, Mario Kart World also released, I guess. Oh, you want me to talk about it? Well, I will. In another video that I'll hopefully have the motivation to make very soon. Sin of Greed, by the way, do not pay $80 for this game. Alright, what else on this list could be considered sinful, perhaps? Devils are sinful, right? Also, that's a whole ass large box of pizza, Dante. I'm gonna have to tack on gluttony for that. Yep, it's Devil May Cry time. Because I'm pretty sure nothing has happened with DMC lately, especially not anything bad. Nope, nothing at all. I have been trying for the last nearly 5 years to get into Devil May Cry. You have no idea how badly I've wanted to play DMC 5 for a while now. But I'm too stubborn to skip the first 2 games, so I could never get too far. But I finally felt motivated to clean up some of my PS2 library by beating some games I hadn't finished yet, and I made myself sit down and see Devil May Cry 1 through to the end, not letting myself quit and drop it. Is DMC1 an amazing game? In some ways, maybe, if you viewed it through the lens of when it released. But this felt like a one and done for me. A fun game at many points. Definitely not time wasted, but it has aged in a few ways I don't really like. I can recommend it if you're curious, of course, but it definitely takes some getting used to. Great start to the series, but the best is certainly yet to come. Now, DMC2, ooh, I have heard for years that DMC2 is awful, and I always thought, okay, it really can't be that bad. I mean, I guess. I don't think DMC2 is unplayable garbage, but oh my god, is it so boring and mediocre. Going in, I knew 2 key things, and both turned out to be very true. The first is that this game is piss easy. You basically don't even have to try. This was done in response to the criticisms of DMC1 apparently being too hard, and while yeah, the game could kick your ass if it felt like it, This was very much an overcorrection. The second thing is just how broken guns are.
Guns! You gotta use your guns!
Optimal play in DMC2 can be summed up pretty easily. Okay, you see that enemy there? Here's the best way to kill it. Step 1. Okay, you've beaten the game. The only thing keeping this from being outright bad for me is that it's short, only lasting about 4.5 hours. And the fact that I started to develop some kind of Stockholm syndrome for the game at a certain point and began deriving sick pleasure from playing it. I am glad I didn't skip it, of course, because I feel stronger-willed for sticking through it, but that also came with the downside of making me unprepared for DMC3, because those two games are at opposite ends of the difficulty spectrum. Good God, DMC3 is tough as hell, but it's also a certified banger of a game. I really loved DMC3. It is an incredible comeback and leap forward for the series. I think with more time, I'll play more of it because there's a lot to do with it. And with that, stay tuned until next year to hear my thoughts on the rest of the series. And now for something completely different. I took a global literature class this summer, aced it by the way, I know, no big deal or anything, but that meant I got to read some interesting stories. Follow the Rabbit-Proof Fence? No comment, I'm just not cut out to review it. Like Water for Chocolate? Hated it. Persepolis? Okay, I actually really liked this one. I didn't finish the second half of it, but the first half was incredible. And then as a freebie, we just had to watch Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban on the final week. Now, fuck J.K. Rowling, of course, but this is a damn good movie made by some very talented people who do not share the same rancid views as the mind that spawned this story. Hopefully I can take another class like this before I graduate, because I actually really love reading, especially good books. Okay, it's time for a new segment I'm starting this year, the Type Moon Corner. I've made no secret about my love of Fate Stay Night on this channel, and it goes without saying that I've made a solid effort to check out many other Type Moon things, both Fate and non-Fate related. I saw a few episodes of Fate Apocrypha, hated it, watched the Fate segments of Carnival Phantasm, only the Fate segments because I still haven't read very much of Tsukihami.
Tsukihami?
On my 23rd birthday, one of my friends organized a watch party for me, and I got to experience the Studio Dean UBW movie with the homies. It was an absolutely terrible adaptation that utterly fails at maintaining any semblance of narrative cohesion and consistency, but we all had an incredible time watching it. Thank you very much, Kyo, and the rest of the gang who joined me. It was a pretty fun night. Wow, that was dog shit, I'm not gonna lie. That was
the visuals. I love the visuals.
Yeah, it's like that was ass, but it was like high quality. It was high quality ass. But enough Fate slop. Let's get serious. There are essentially 4 pillars of Type Moon media: Tsukihime, Mihoyo, Fate, and the Garden of Sinners, or Kara no Kyokai,
as they say in Nippon.
And my pillar of choice this season, well, it was almost Mihoyo, but I haven't finished that yet. So instead, we'll be talking about the Garden of Sinners today. This is a bit unique from the other Nasu works I've experienced, which is interesting because it was actually his first. Yeah, I was always under the impression that Tsukihime was Nasu's first work, but no, the K&K light novels actually predate it by a couple of years. In fact, Nasu wrote all of them while still in high school, and it definitely shows in a few spots. Chances are, though, you're more familiar with the anime movie adaptations of each light novel, done entirely by a pre-tax evasion Ufotable. Nowadays, it's pretty easy to shit on Ufotable animation for being way too flashy and over-the-top, without much substance to complement it. But the second movie was where I really got invested in the whole thing. Even if you don't find yourself interested after the first movie, at least try watching this one. And if you're still not hooked after that, then I'd say you can probably drop it. The third movie, I'd say, is a bit less interesting overall, but I still thought it was good and provides some pretty important context and info for the rest of the story. Same case with the fourth movie, which I'd rank about the same as the third one. The fifth movie is where things absolutely start to shine the brightest. It's a bit longer compared to the previous ones, but it mostly tells a self-contained story that is absolutely incredible and emotional. Definitely my second favorite. Unfortunately, I didn't really like the sixth one. Even if the others were edgier and had more shock value, this one reeks of early Nasu writing the most, and I definitely do not mean that in a good way. It also doesn't help that it's sandwiched between the two best ones. The seventh movie ended up being my favorite. It isn't the last one made, but it works so well as a climactic ending to the whole thing that just makes me a little emotional. And then there's an epilogue, which, no comment, and an eighth movie, which was made a few years after the seventh one, but it's more of a nice bonus to cap off the whole story, which also happened to come with a small bonus movie of its own, where Shiki takes care of a random cat. Awesome. All in all, in spite of some rough spots, very rough spots, I ended up really loving The Garden of Sinners, and I found it supremely worthwhile. This would be the part where I'd recommend it, but there's some considerations that need to be made. It's definitely not going to be for everyone, and I don't just mean you might find it too slow or boring. I pretty much never put content warning labels on the stuff I review, mostly because I actually trust my audience to know whether or not they can handle the things I'm recommending to them, but I kind of feel I have to here. The Garden of Sinners covers some heavy subject matter, so if you are at all sensitive to even fictional depictions of suicide, sexual assault, domestic abuse, or just general body horror, I'd only recommend this with extreme caution. So that just leaves two Type Moon pillars left. I'm thinking Mihoyo will be next, and Tsukihime seems like a fitting choice to end the year on. We'll just have to see, though. I have saved the best for last this time, but before that, I have to mention the innumerable games I've started for the first time last season, but didn't finish. There's a lot of them. Mihoyo, No More Heroes, Shin Megami Tensei 4, Drakengard, Fullmetal Demon Muramasa, Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones, Katamari, and I'm probably forgetting one or two. I cannot keep up with my own ever-growing backlog no matter what I do. Revisit Lightning Round time. Sonic Mania is still the best Sonic game, and probably my third favorite game of all time. Sonic Frontiers is about the same as I felt about it before, but arguably worse, unless we factor in the spin dash. I'm sorry, I just realized by the third island that I wasn't having much fun, so I hit up the mod loader, and good god, what a difference this one move makes. That said, all the Sonic Frontiers-isms kinda keep my opinion on the game from really going up. It's still the most 7.5 out of 10 game ever made, but that's okay, because we have a better game now. Unsurprisingly, the first thing I did with my Switch 2 after getting it at the midnight release was start replaying my favorite game of all time, Breath of the Wild, just as I said I would. And I could not be happier to report that nothing has changed. Playing it from start to finish again for the first time in so many years did not feel like a chore in the slightest. I still love this game more than any other for both new and old reasons. The critiques leveled at it have never once bothered me that much, because when I play this game and start exploring Hyrule, I just feel more immersed than I've ever been in any other game I've played to date. I really need something to cap off this whole sinful theme, but I'm not sure what to do. I mean, I already had something with the word sinners in the title. Surely I can't do any better than that. Alright, I'll drop the act. I wasn't familiar with Sinners prior to its release and critical acclaim, but I figured that I shouldn't miss out on it. I'm glad I didn't miss out on it. I am also glad I didn't watch a single trailer for it before seeing it, and I encourage you to go in blind as well. So, fuck it. 10 out of 10, genuinely the best movie I've seen in theaters since Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is my favorite movie of all time, mind you. The only reason I might not be able to recommend it is if you can't handle some of the material, I don't know. I mean, it's rated R for a reason. There are so many things that are immaculate about this movie. The characters, the themes, the music, the cinematography, that one specific scene which just, if you know, you know. There's so much for me to compliment this movie for, and I do not give a single fuck if I sound like the white boy trying to virtue signal right now, because these are my genuine, unfiltered opinions. Watch this movie now. Sin of Wrath, by the way. We did it! We collected all of the 7 deadly sins! I should probably get rid of them before I start burning in hell or something. Well, I'm gonna go back to working on the other videos I've got planned. Or maybe I'll just play more Cyberpunk on my Switch too. Either way, y'all have a good rest of your day, and take care.